For more now, we're joined by Republican Representative Maria Salazar of Florida. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. You, of course, sit on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. You've talked before about the threats posed by China, Iran, and Russia. But as you know, it's been a week of back and forth with NATO over Greenland. The U.S. already has access to Greenland in terms of military bases and training. We are, of course, part of the NATO alliance. Are you concerned that our adversaries are not only laughing at the NATO dysfunction, but actively could benefit from it?
Well, I like what came out of Davos and the fact that the president was able to negotiate what seems to be a happy ending for everybody, which is that the 17 different bases that military bases that we had at some point during World War II and up until the 90s are going to be back in American hands. And that's pretty good. Because I think if you look at it from another point of view, we're not only defending the United States from Russia and China in the Arctic, but we are defending the Western world as well, meaning Europe. So I don't think we should look at the process. Let's look at the result. And the result was pretty good for the president, for the Europeans, and for the Americans. So this case, I think it's closed.
With regard to Venezuela, you met with opposition leader Maria Corina Machado this week. Today, Edmundo Gonzalez announced that his son-in-law was freed from detention in Venezuela. What's next for this movement?
I think what's next is that Maria Corina needs to go back to Venezuela and reinstall and put together that network that she created during 2024 that proved to the world that they had won the presidential election fair and square. Now she's going to put together that machinery once again, and they are going to prove, I'm sure, to the rest of the world that once they are free and fair elections in Venezuela, the opposition forces will win, and they're going to be able to we're going to be able to then transition into democracy, which, you know, they were one of the most stable democracies in the world until the last 25 years when the Chavez forces destroyed the institution, all the democratic institutions in that country.
What's your reaction to what appears to be President Trump's lack of support for the opposition movement to go in and take over?
Well, I don't see it as lack of support. He was with her over 3.5 hours a few days ago, and she was there with Marcos, Susie Wiles, chief of staff, the president, and the vice president. And the president came out saying that he was impressed by her, because she's impressive.
But really, technically, it seems that President Trump was in the driver's seat to say whether it would be Maria Corina or Delcy.
Look, we are in the business not of oppressing or conquering. We are in the business of liberating. And this is like a new model that we are sort of implementing in the Western Hemisphere. I know that it's a little bit slower than we would like for it to be, but at the same time, it brings stability, no boots on the ground. And we're giving the Venezuelans the opportunity to swallow or to start this new chapter in their lives, in their political lives.
Just this week, the New York Times released a story stating that a record number of Cubans are being deported in Florida. Today, we learned of an immigrant who died in an ICE facility, and the autopsy declared it was a homicide. You represent a Cuban-American stronghold in Miami, and you're also the daughter of Cuban exiles.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on these deportations and the conditions that some detainees are facing?
I don't like some of the things that I see. I do know that ICE is just following orders. ICE is doing its job, but we should change the directives. We should change the homework that we're giving to ICE. That's why I wrote the only immigration reform law in Congress called the Dignity Act, so we can reshape the whole immigration space, and whatever is happening right now with ICE, we can change the directives, and they will go back to doing what they would do best, which is to catch criminals, illegals or non-illegals. Let's catch the bad hombres, like the president said, but let's don't go after those Cubans who do not have a criminal record and they came in irregularly. Our immigration system is completely and absolutely broken, and only Congress, the halls of Congress, here is where we can write legislation to change that reality, and that's exactly what I did with the Dignity Act.
So appreciate your insight and your time, Congresswoman Salazar. Thank you for joining us.
To you. Thank you for the opportunity.